Now I'm going to warn you, this next theory is dark, and probably one of the most unsettling ones we've ever talked about on this channel. And this theory starts with subliminal messages in children's shows.
I am now going to assault your mind with subliminal messages.
Now we've talked about this before, but usually we talk about the sexual messages that are hidden in cartoons. By far, SpongeBob SquarePants has the most. There's jokes about prison,
Don't drop them.
Patrick licking a pile of sand, and plenty more.
Who wants to lick my cheeks?
But those are all just jokes and clearly hidden for adults.
Oh yeah.
But there's a lot of other darker messages that have been hidden in this show, and most of them involve suicide.
I can't seem to get happy. Maybe this will help.
That's right. In a 2001 episode called Are You Happy Now?, Squidward is seen suffering from depression.
Wake me when I'm dead.
There's scenes of him walking around in a dazed state, and there's even scenes where it looks like he's trying to kill himself. Like this one, where he puts his head in an oven.
I just can't seem to get happy.
But by far the darkest moment is when SpongeBob goes over to his house to make sure he's okay.
Now I'm really worried.
And then he says this.
Well, at least we know he's still alive.
Yeah, that might be some of the darkest shit I've ever seen on TV, let alone a kid's show. But it's not just this episode. There's tons of other episodes that have suicide references too.
What's the point of going on?
There's an episode where Plankton tries to get himself hit by a car.
Go away, cheesehead! Can't you see I'm trying to get run over?
There's an episode where SpongeBob stabs himself to death.
In ancient times, one would fall on their sword by way of apology.
Yeah, that's almost glorifying suicide. There's even an episode where a character goes to kill himself, and then they say this.
Someday, but not today.
Someday, but not today, making it seem inevitable. But then, as I was looking into it, I found that suicide references have been in a lot more cartoons than just SpongeBob. Here's the ending scene from a Looney Tunes cartoon called Bare Feet from 1949.
Well, there's still one way out. I'm going to be free. Free at last.
Yeah, free at last. Once again, glorifying suicide, making it look exciting.
We died together.
And there are hundreds.
Oh my goodness.
I'm gonna blow my brains out.
I mean, Bugs Bunny. Daffy Duck.
There was nothing for the Scarlet Pumpernickel to do but blow his brains out, to which he said,
Woody Woodpecker.
If I had a gun, I'd shoot myself.
Daisy Duck.
goodness, I didn't want to live.
And a bunch of cartoon episodes just ending with characters killing themselves for no reason. Now I know this sounds crazy, but it goes even farther back. There's a Mickey Mouse comic from 1930 where Mickey gets threatened because Minnie's getting hit on by another guy.
What you need is someone like me to protect you, Minnie.
Huh? Now I know I don't like that guy.
Then he sees them kissing.
Good gosh! Say it isn't so!
Then he falls into a depression.
Gosh, well, I never thought Minnie would fall for somebody else. Everybody seems happy. Why does the world have to be down on me?
And then he decides the only option is to kill himself.
Oh, what's the use? She doesn't care for me anymore. What is there to live for? Without Minnie, I might as well end it all.
The comic even goes so far to show Mickey setting up a homemade suicide contraption using a shotgun, 2 chairs, and a string, which actually did become a common way that people would kill themselves.
Goodbye, Minnie. Goodbye, cruel world. 1, 2. Huh? Oh.
Then he tries to jump off a bridge.
Goodbye, cruel world!
Then when that attempt didn't work, he closed all the windows and closed all the doors, turned on the gas.
I'll turn on this gas and end it once and for all.
So he could pass out and die in his sleep.
Goodbye, Minnie. Goodbye, cruel world.
and he even tries to hang himself.
Gee, I'm sure having a tough time trying to put an end to myself. But my worries will soon be over.
In that comic strip alone, there's 4 different examples of how to kill yourself. Even in this Daisy Duck cartoon, you can see there's 6 options for suicide. Gun, hanging, knife, poison, grenade, and a bomb. So what's the theory? Well, what if they've been planting it inside our minds since we were kids? That suicide is an option. So when you hit a fork in the road and you don't know what to do, you have a backup plan. Because the first 5 years is when your brain develops the most and is the most impressionable. So wouldn't it make sense to start planting that idea then?
Maybe this will help.
Yes, people have severe depression and suicidal thoughts, me included in the past. But maybe some of us think of it as an option because when we were kids, we were told it would set us free. So why would they want to plant suicide in our brains? Well, some people think it might be a form of population control. Some people think it's to keep society in a weak, depressed, and fearful state. Because a weakened society is easier to control. I mean, think about it. We have kids who are depressed, and then we're medicating them and putting them on pills, and then sitting them in front of a TV where they're watching their favorite cartoon character kill themselves, and also making it seem exciting.
Goodbye, everyone. Remember you all in therapy.
I mean, the global antidepressant market is estimated at over $11.6 billion. The government and the economy love depression. And we also glorify things like money, fame, success.
Is that what you're going for?
I mean, I'd love to be a billionaire, sure, why not?
Guys, we are washing the Supreme Ferrari right now.
Who pissing on their money? Ain't nobody doing that shit like me, fuck boy.
So if someone happens to not achieve those things, now in the back of their heads, they know that suicide is an option.
I reckon I ain't got no alternative.
I mean, just think about the board game that was targeted to us as kids.
Anything can happen in the game of life.
The game of life, where the goal is to succeed, and if you don't, you lose.
Where will your choices take you in the game of life?
You can be a winner at the game of life.
To win the game of life, you need to make money.
So select my taste.
Get famous.
Be a movie star.
Do better than those that you're playing against.
I made $50,000 in the stock market. I went to the poor farm. That's life.
Literally, the commercial says, I mean, come on. And in the original version of Life in 1860 that was created by Milton Bradley, it literally had suicide on the board as an option.
That's life.
Now, it's not just suicide that's being poured into kids' pure, very multiple brains. It's darkness in every single form. Just think about the games we used to play as kids. Ring Around the Rosie.
Ring around the rosy.
A game about people who died from the Black Plague.
Ashes to ashes, we all fall down.
London Bridge.
London Bridge is falling down.
A song about a huge bridge falling and killing everyone.
Iron bars will bend and break, bend and break, bend and break.
Ouija, a game that makes it fun to contact evil spirits in your house.
Look, it's spelling something. Go ahead, ask another question.
This is too weird. You are moving.
You guys are wrong, right?
That is too weird for me.
Then, of course, you have Twister. A game that's marketed as a way for you and your friends to get way too close.
Twister, the game that ties you up in knots.
I can't even imagine the amount of creepy uncles or cousins who have wanted to play that game on Thanksgiving.
Twister ties you up in a knot.
A game that pretty much grants anybody permission to wrap their body parts around you.
It's wicked hot.
You gotta get it.
It's the hottest game around.
You gotta get it.
Ties you up in knots.
The best games in the world.
And then, of course, you have the darkest of them all, Hangman. A game where you have to guess the correct word or your little stick figure will be hanged. And the darkest part is that this classroom game is actually based on a real-life game from the 18th century. Criminals that were sentenced to death by hanging would play a game called Right of Words in Life. So the game would start during a public hanging where the executioner would choose a word. And the criminal would have to guess the word by choosing letters. And if the criminal guessed the word right, then he would live. And if he guessed the word wrong...
Game over.
Hey man, let's go over it.
If you're not aware of what hangman is,
first you draw your diagram, the hook that is, but hopefully he doesn't get home.
students have to guess the letters of a hidden word, and if they get the letter wrong,
X? I'm sorry, X is not a part of this animal's name.
then one more part of the hanging man is added.
Now it's the head. Once you finish off the body, that's the end of the game. You decide you want him to smile, although he probably won't be smiling on a hook.
The most messed up part about all of that is that almost all of the criminals at that time were illiterate, which means they didn't even have a chance, and that game was just a way to publicly humiliate them before they died. And it's not just games that have dark undertones. What's the first thing you remember hearing as a kid? Nursery rhymes. Rockabye Baby, a song where a baby's cradle is swinging in a tree and then the branch breaks and the baby falls to the ground. Humpty Dumpty, a song about a guy who had a great fall and nobody can save him because he's dead. It's raining, it's pouring.
He went to bed.
A guy hits his head and then dies.
And bumped his head and couldn't get up in the morning.
And one of the most disturbing, Peter Peter Pumpkin Eater, a song about a guy whose wife doesn't want him.
Had a wife but could not keep her.
So he holds her hostage in a pumpkin.
He put her in a pumpkin shell. There he kept her very well.
Yeah, a song that normalizes holding a woman against her will. And I mean, even looking back at London Bridge, there's a reference of locking a woman up.
Lock her up, lock her up.
Now with the internet, kids aren't watching TV as much, but don't worry. There's tons of content on YouTube for kids, and that has plenty of dark messages. Like murder, suicide, abortion, violence, and for some reason, a lot of vomiting.
Whoa, I have never seen anyone throw up so much.
Then when you're a teenager, you're once again filled with the thoughts of suicide in movies, TV shows.
Hey, it's Hannah.
And now internet challenges.
Remember the Blue Whale Challenge? Tonight, a brand new threat to the safety of your family and your kids.
If you all want to get a sense for all these challenges, here are just a few of them. Carve yes on your leg. Do something painful to yourself. Don't talk to anyone all day.
So many of our teenagers feel more lonely, even though they're on social media more.
Everyone questions as a society, how do we have so much evil, death, hatred, depression, destruction? But do we even have to question it when we look back at our childhoods now as adults and think about what was being put right in front of our eyes?
Well, now I've seen everything.
So, what's the overall theory? Well, the only way to keep a society easy to control is through chaos. The only way to get them to vote for you is by fear.
Lock her up.
A nuclear war could break out any minute.
The only way to get you to unite is through tragedies. The only way to keep them unhappy is by constantly showing them unrealistic expectations of looks.
Hey, hottie.
Looking hot.
So hot.
Money and success. A society that's peaceful is not a society that can be controlled. So what do you do to make sure that chaos and fear continues? Make sure to show children just how scary and dark the world is from a very early age.
A mother bought her toddler this princess wand at the dollar store behind me. Imagine her surprise when the curious little girl peeled back the foil to find this image of a girl cutting herself inside.
If you look close enough, it's not a drawing. It's an actual picture of the girl slitting her wrist. I want to know how they think that is suitable for a child.